This is Broken Matt Hardy. And right now, you must go to the Inside the Ropes YouTube channel. Yes! Like and subscribe or face deletion!
And we're back here in Inside the Ropes, and I'm joined by my good close personal friend, Matt Hardy. Matt, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you?
We've done like 100 interviews together, so I feel like I don't even know what we talk about now.
It's just old hat.
It's just old hat. Well, I want to address, the first thing is, because if people follow you on social media, it is, you look in great shape. We're seeing all these photos of you now, but people are wondering what's next for Matt Hardy on TV. So can you give us any hints as to what's coming up, or what you'd like to do next?
I think what I would like to do is obviously go back on TV with Matt Hardy in a singles capacity. While I've been off, I realized you have to stay relevant. You have to keep people talking about you. I've been doing a series that you don't understand how hard it is to be Matt Hardy series. And I explained this a little earlier today. I mean, my whole inspiration behind that was social media is a weird, tricky thing. The greatest thing about social media is it gives everyone a voice. The worst thing about social media is it gives everyone a voice, and people will complain about anything, even if their situation isn't even that bad. So that was the whole inspiration behind You Don't Understand How Hard It Is to Be Matt Hardy. You have this guy who has a pretty kick-ass life and doing this, but there's a snag in this day or a snag in this day, and of course that's the point that he's going to bitch about and complain about. So that was my whole motivation. But I would love to do something. I would love to transition that on the TV into another character, and then ultimately get back to doing Broken Matt Hardy.
Well, because to me, I was thinking about having been around you a lot and stuff. I just felt like you were Broken Matt Hardy, then you were Woken Matt Hardy, and it just felt like you're probably going to reinvent yourself again, because that's what you always do. And now you've got this series with you don't know how it is to be Matt Hardy. For you, people, I've heard a lot of people today kind of going, what's your dream final match? But I can feel that you're I'm not near my final match. I've got a good run left in me. So what is the mentality now in terms of because there's big money, Matt, there's V1, there's Woken, Broken. Is it a case of, do you want to move on to something new, or do you want to try and I would love to see you as a sort of bipolar, crazy guy who just has all these personalities. Do you want to move forward to something new, or do you think that you would want to try and incorporate the previous version?
I would like to incorporate version 1 at some point, just because I feel like people bereave the Matt Facts and the entrance music. I do, to a degree. So that's definitely something in my game plan. But there's also new stuff that I have a couple other new things in the back of my mind too that I would like to utilize. But I would like to be this crazy, constant stream of change character on television, and almost like you said, when I use that word multifarious earlier on, someone who has all these identities within his body, within his mind, almost similar to how you said, I would love to do something like that, because I feel like as entertainment changes, and especially professional wrestling, you can't be the same thing for too long, because people's attention spans are so short. There has to be a constant, gradual change going on at some point.
And you've been in all those TLC matches where it was set the bar higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And as you kind of get older, you can't be jumping off ladders all the time. Sure. So I feel like you're such a creative guy that you could just do promos backstage for the next 20 years and people would be entertained.
Yeah, my definite, and I say this all the time, I am much higher in the entertainment column than I am athleticism column right now. I'm still physically good enough that I can hold down that end of the deal, but I need to be more entertainment driven than athletic driven.
And I do want to say very quickly, the fact that the Ultimate Deletion figure set is not coming out is so frustrating.
Oh, yeah. I
was going to pre-order that, but it's not going to happen. So Mattel are on my list now. But I wanted to talk to you as well about you and Jeff, when you guys had the feud in 2009, and you had the initial one in 2001. You look at Brett versus Owen, and that was a really successful brother versus brother feud. What do you think the reason is that you versus Jeff has never worked? Do you think it's just people just don't buy that you two are not just best friends and really close brothers?
Well, I also think the timing of it is very different. The Attitude Era, I think, was so exciting and also so hype because, everyone got this access to all the information. That's when the internet exploded, right? In the late 90s. So everyone kind of understood what we were doing, and they really knew the ins and outs of the business. And that makes it harder on the performers going forward. So when you have this Bret Owen thing and you do a storyline, which was in the early 90s, kind of before the internet really exploded and all this information was accessible, it was a lot easier for two people to believe that they legitimately had a beef and they legitimately hated one another. So I think that people were a lot more invested in that. I felt like once all this stuff came out and they did all these documentaries, we had a book, we were very popular. In 2000, it's documented. We sold more merchandise than any other tag team in history. So we were obviously a very popular act at that time. 2001, we both weren't ready to be singles competitors. And even when they tried to program us together there, I think like we weren't comfortable in our abilities, but also the viewers were like, come on, these guys are brothers. Like, we've seen their story, we know their deal. Like, they don't hate each other. And it was hard to make that believable in many, many ways. And then I think as time went on, 2009, we tried hard in that, and I think that went pretty well. Once we did the thing where I burned his house down and killed his dog, I think that was like, that was kind of like a difficult point to get past, because that was a little too much in the line of believability in real reality. And then like once we did the whole Brother Nero broken Matt Hardy thing, we both just didn't care. Like we both felt comfortable. We were both comfortable in our own skins, and I felt like people kind of bit on that more than anything else. And I felt like when we did that last feud that was in TNA, that was the best one that we did as far as like against one another.
Do you think we've seen the last of the Hardy Boys as a team, or is that something? Because you have done it a lot of times, but is it something you want to revisit, or do you kind of want to just leave that?
I'm sure we'll do it. It's obviously what we're most well known for, so I'm sure that'll happen. Anytime the Hardy Boys are together, it's a very special attraction, and that's what this industry lives off of nowadays too, is special attractions.
The last thing I want to ask about, because we've talked about this before, but like you were there in the Attitude Era, you were there in the trenches, WWF versus WCW, and obviously AEW is starting up. They're going to have TV. Do you think that now having some sort of competition is going to be good for the wrestlers, the fans, to have something like it? Because we've not really had that in a long time, where there's something legitimate that we can go, there might be a choice of what you're going to watch.
Yes, it's great. It's going to help everyone, and it's beneficial for everyone. It forces, no one is going to be on the global competition level of WWE because it's so entrenched everywhere. But just like the AEW coming out and having this programming and having a good spot on television, it's going to be great for us too, because it's going to push our creative team and our minds and our talents to try and do even better.
Well, Matt, I want to thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with on TV next. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.